Welcome to the Onion Buns. As you may have noticed, I'm trying a different background, so let me know in the comments what you think of it compared to the other videos. I'm going to keep cycling through these backgrounds. I found a site, AI artist, got permission from him to use all of his art that he posts. So he does some it's mostly Oriental, got that Oriental Asian vibe to it, but I love that stuff. So yeah, so anyway, let me know. Some of them work better than the others. Find one I like. So anyway, I want to change it up a bit today. I'm not going to go with video clips and mimes and screenshots of newspapers. I just want to have a talk. Let's have a conversation because I really don't get it. I don't get it. And I really want somebody to explain it to me if they can. I'm betting they can't, but I really want somebody to try. So for complete transparency's sake, as I've said before, one of my goals on this YouTube channel when I made it 2 weeks ago, it's only been 2 weeks, is I want to be transparent, completely transparent. If I have a bias, I want it to be transparent. So contrary to all the names I get called online, and actually from some people I know, I'm not a conservative. I'm a moderate. I'm a centralist. I go a little bit to the right on law and order, fiscal matters, military. I go a little bit to the left on traditional social issues, traditional liberal valued social issues. And that's an important keynote because the liberals we have nowadays are so far to the radical extremist alt-left mindset that they reject traditional center-left liberal values, no matter what Carney says. We've heard this song and dance from left-wingers before. I remember when Harper was running and Justin Trudeau had moved his liberals past the NDP to the radical extremist alt-left lunacy. Like he went past the NDP. So suddenly the CBC and the CTV and the Globe and Mail and all the rest of the mainstream media were calling Thomas Mulcair of the NDP the new centralist. Well, I'm a centralist, and Thomas Mulcair was still a far left socialist. Just because Trudeau went past him to the left doesn't mean anything about Thomas Mulcair changed. So this perception that if you're one guy's to your left and another guy's to your right, that makes you the centralist is false. If the right guy is a center-right politician, he's still the closest thing to the center. If you're far left and you're extremist far left, so this perception that's out there that the media tries to push is a false narrative. And okay. So anyway, I'm a centralist. I'm a moderate. I don't belong to the liberals. I will never in my life belong to the NDP. I am not a socialist. I will never be a socialist. I don't belong to the conservatives. I don't belong to the PPC. I don't belong to the Bloc. I do not belong to any political organization. I pick and choose who I support at each election. And again, full transparency. I've picked Pierre Poilievre. He is center right. He is the closest to the center. That is what I'm interested in. Plus, I happen to agree with most of his policies. And he's the only one that's put out policies. So this brings me to my first question. What is it that people see in Mark Carney? I really want to know. As far as I can tell, he's put out exactly 2 policies. He's keeping the emissions cap, which is a production cap. It will cost us 54,000 jobs. It will cost us $20 billion in GDP, and it will destroy Alberta, and it will drive industry out of Alberta. And let's face it, that has been the Liberals' agenda for the last 10 years, of which Carney was advising Trudeau for the last 5 years. So this is all fact. This is not my opinion. Government itself put out the information of the 54,000 jobs being lost, of the $20 billion in Canadian GDP being lost. So that was the government themselves that put that out if the production cap goes into effect. Carney has said he's going to keep the production cap after he lied to Premier Smith and to Edmonton saying he wasn't. But then he got called on it because his own minister kind of ruined his day by in Quebec saying that they were going ahead with the production cap. So yeah, that's one policy he's put out. That's not good for Canada. That's not good for Alberta. The other policy he's put out is the Century Club that he wants to have 100 million people in Canada. Well, we just saw Justin do a massively watered down version of that, and it just it damn near destroyed our economy. Like, our dollar's at its weakest point in, I think it was 25 years now, 30 years. Like, inflation is at record high. Housing costs are out of control. Food banks can't keep up across the country. But he wants to bring in 100 million people. That's his other policy. So how is that good for Canada? It's not. Again, that's not opinion. That is hard data fact. Everything else he's announced, he's stolen off of Polyev. So you got the guy that stole the ideas and the guy that came up with the ideas. Well, I'm going to give it credit to the guy that came up with the ideas. These are his policies. Just because Carney is grabbing hold of it. And here's the other thing, and we've seen this for the last 12 years or 10 years, is just because a Trudeau Carney Liberal says something in a campaign trail doesn't mean it's going to happen. Trudeau already put out the bullet train from Toronto to Montreal. Anyone with any common sense knows that that's never going to happen. It's not. Like, you don't need to be a mind reader. Carney is not going to build pipelines. He said as much in roundabout ways. When he was building pipelines in the Middle East, but he was blocking pipelines in Canada for the last 5 years. Again, this is fact. This is not opinion. This is fact. So we know he's not going to build the pipelines, even though he keeps dancing around the topic saying, well, I'm kind of in favor of it now. No, he's not. We know this. Come on. A little bit of common sense and critical thinking ability, people. He's not going to open up coal factories. I'm not actually in favor of opening up coal factories for energy. Coal is used for other things, but for energy, I don't approve of coal. But Carney, for the last 5 years, well, blocking coal in Canada, has been selling U.S. coal to China. China has the world's largest carbon footprint. If you care about carbon as Carney claims he does, why would you sell coal, the dirtiest form of energy, to the highest carbon footprint nation in the world? Like, it's not. It's either or. If you care about the environment and about carbon, you don't sell. If you only care about money, you sell. Again, these are facts. These are not opinions. These are facts. So right there, we see Carney is creating a whole bunch of false narratives to try to make him look more appealing to centralist voters. But we saw this with Justin. Justin never said one word on the campaign trail about a carbon tax. Not a single word. Yet, 2 days after he got elected, he hammered through that carbon tax. Why didn't he campaign on it? If he thought it was such a good idea and such a positive measure, why did he not campaign on it? Because he knew nobody wanted it. And as we've seen, it destroyed our economy. And Carney, well, he's no better. All he's ever said is he wants a higher carbon tax, not a lower carbon tax. He didn't get rid of the carbon tax. He paused the carbon tax. The legislation is still on the books. He can, if he gets elected, Lord forbid, but if he gets elected, a simple swipe of the pen and the consumer carbon tax is back. Plus, he's already announced that he's going to put on a massive 5 times larger industrial carbon tax. Well, the industries are going to just take all that extra money and put it on the consumer. So that consumer carbon tax he wiped out is about to grow massively should he take office. How does that help Canada? Why would you support this? There is absolutely no evidence worldwide that carbon tax lowers carbon emission. None. So why would we put that out? The only thing carbon tax do is attack industries. So what'll happen, I'll tell you right now, what will happen is he will put on the industrial carbon tax. Companies will say, I've had enough of this. They will shut down in Canada. They'll go to the States where they'll be welcomed with open arms. Exactly what Donald Trump wants. Like, why is this not getting through anyone's heads? All of Carney's policies that he's not stealing from Polyev help Donald Trump. They don't help Canada. They help Donald Trump achieve exactly what Donald Trump wants. Just like Carney, soon as Donald Trump got elected, 6 days later, he moved Brookfield Asset Management from Toronto and all the jobs from Toronto to New York. Exactly what Donald Trump wanted. This is why Donald Trump endorsed him. Like, everybody's trying to read into it as Donald Trump playing some sort of political game. Donald Trump wants Mark Carney as prime minister because Carney does exactly what Trump wants. Poilievre doesn't. That's why Trump doesn't like Poilievre. Poilievre doesn't bend the knee to him. Mark Carney does. Actions speak louder than words, and Carney's actions have him bending the knee to Donald Trump at every single turn. Again, facts, not opinion. So I don't get it. What has Mark Carney done that installs any confidence in anybody? The UK is warning us not to elect him. I mean, their media is begging us not to elect him. Facts, again, go look it up. I'm not going to show it this time. You go look it up, but it's facts. The UK is begging us not to elect him because he destroyed their economy. So when he was the Bank of Canada, all he did was print money, which drove up inflation. So where's this business acumen that everyone keeps spouting off about him? I'm not seeing it. Brookfield, he's been pushing this net zero scam, and it is a scam. That's not opinion, that is fact. But he's pushing it on us, and it's hurting us, but he cut down 22,000 acres of the Brazilian rainforest. He displaced a primitive culture, and nobody knows what happened to them. This is opinion. My guess is, and it's an educated guess because I've studied a lot of history on issues kind of related to this, not directly related to this, but what happens when you take a primitive culture and you thrust them into the society of that era, be it Rome, be it England, be it Greece, like we've seen this scenario play over. When you take a primitive culture and you displace them and you put them into the technological culture of the era, they don't do well. They really don't. They struggle because they're not equipped to handle the new reality. They usually turn to crime, drugs, or death. That is the usual three outcomes. Well, back in the old Roman days, there was slavery too, but thank God we got rid of that. At least in North America, we got rid of that. But yeah, those were the options. And Mark Carney did this. Again, fact. This is actual fact. Cutting down 22,000 acres of the Brazilian rainforest is the most anti-environmental procedure you can do. Canada could stop, just absolutely stop all carbon capture, everything we're doing to minimize our carbon. We could just stop it. And in 10 years, we could not meet the damage Carney and Brookfield did by cutting down 22,000 acres of the Brazilian rainforest. Yet he calls himself an environmentalist. That's not an environmentalist. Peru is telling us not to elect him because Carney built roads that were so expensive, the Peruvian people can't use them. It was only for his rich friends to drive around the country. But he had Peru pay for it. And now they're suing him and they're going after criminal charges. Him specifically. Fact, not opinion. So we know Carney sold coal to the Chinese. We know he built pipelines in the Middle East, well blocking pipelines and coal manufacturing in Canada. We know he cut down 22,000 acres of the Brazilian rainforest. We know the UK is telling us not to elect him because of the damage he did to their economy with his net zero scam. We know the Peruvian government is going after him in court. We know other governments are going after him in court. I just saw a video that I'll do a different episode on, but I'll just recap it here. Carney is being sued by coal miners in America who are dying from black lung because Carney and Brookfield refused to pay their medical expenses for diseases that came about from working in the coal mine. I worked most of my life in the customer service industry, and when I injured myself, my medical was paid. I stepped on a piece of glass. I needed 12 stitches in the bottom of my foot. They drove me to the hospital. We don't pay for stuff in Canada, but I had insurance through my work that covered all my prescriptions and everything, and they didn't harass me for the time off. I was paid for my time off while I recovered from that. What they didn't do was try to cut me off and let me die. That's what Mark Carney's doing to these poor people. Fact, not opinion. So I really don't get this mainstream media mythos that Mark Carney is a good, honorable, nice guy. And I would love for somebody to come into the comments section and explain it to me if they think he is, because I don't see it. And I don't understand how anyone can support him. Everything he's done in the last 5 years has hurt Canada. It's as simple as that. Fact, not opinion. Everything he's done in Brookfield has hurt the world. Fact, not opinion. Damn hair in my eye. So what is this love affair that the mainstream media has with him? Well, I understand the CBC. The CBC, literally, their life depends on backing Carney. So you can't take anything they say at face value anymore. If Poilievre gets in, the CBC goes away. If Carney gets in, the CBC gets raised to $2.5 billion of taxpayer money. Yeah, as the old saying goes, follow the money. Fact, not opinion. CTV, Global, Globe and Mail, Toronto Red Star, same thing. The Liberals made a $600 million slush fund for the media. But only select media that they approve of. In other words, only the media that carries water for them. So that goes away if Poilievre gets in. So yeah, those mainstream media outlets are going to back Carney just because it's in their own personal best interest to keep the Liberals in power. The hell with Canada. They don't give a fucking shit about Canada. They really don't. They only care about themselves, like the Liberals. So I'm really baffled by the tolerant left. And don't get me on the tolerant left. Some assholes just smeared shit all over the statue of Wayne Gretzky last night here in Edmonton. Tolerant left, my ass. All because he dared to be friends with Donald Trump. What does Wayne Gretzky playing hockey and being a local hero in Edmonton as a hockey player have to do with politics? Nothing. They're two completely separate things. The statue was made for Wayne Gretzky, the hockey player, not Wayne Gretzky, the Canadian that's now American that supports Trump. That happened decades after he played hockey here. The statue was made for the Stanley Cups he brought to Edmonton as a hockey player. That is what the statue celebrates. But the tolerant left thinks, well, they're cancel culture. They want to destroy anything they don't agree with, which is another reason not to vote in the Liberals or the NDP. We need to get past this cancel culture bullshit. So anyway, yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about today, because I don't get it. And I would really, really love for somebody to explain it to me, because yeah, everything I see from Carney, Canada won't survive 4 years of him. Just simple as that. We won't. You want Trump to annex Canada? And I'm not really actually suggesting he would do that, because I don't think Trump would ever attack Canada. But he will apply economic pressure and try to get people to move there. And that's exactly what will happen. Companies will start leaving Canada in droves if we elect Mark Carney. That fact, not opinion. The companies have said it already. If you elect Mark Carney, they're gone. They're not putting up with this anymore. How are you going to build LNG lines and pipelines when no companies are willing to do business with the Liberals? Fact, not opinion. They're not. You know, what, are we going to bring in Venezuelan workers? Yeah, let's start getting in bed with the dictators. Great idea. Like, I don't get it. I really don't. I'm baffled by it. I would love for somebody to explain it to me, but I don't think anyone will. I don't think anyone can. I think the support is driven by blatant lies by the mainstream media and by people that too worried about virtue signaling and image politics and not worried enough about what's best for Canada. To me, I'm a centralist. I'm a moderate. I don't belong to any political party. So I don't give my endorsement lightly. I'm endorsing Pierre Poilievre. He's the only one that seems to have Canada's best interests at heart. After 10 years of Justin Trudeau and five years of Trudeau and Carney destroying Canada, isn't it time to give the other guy a chance at least? I mean, he can't do any worse, but just maybe he can do better. And that's what I'm hoping for, is he can do better. Because we need a break. We need a break from this radical, extremist, alt-left lunacy. It doesn't help. So anyway, that's my video for the day. If you liked the video, leave a like and subscribe. If you didn't like the video, leave a dislike. Always feel free to leave a comment. Don't worry, I don't swing my cane too strongly if I dislike your comment. And as always, pew 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 and shit. Thanks for watching. Bye. Oh, and P.S., let me know about the background. Like, I want to find, until I can fix up my basement to where I'm happy with it, to present it, I'm going to keep using these AI backgrounds. And I would love to get feedback on if you like. Like, if you see one you like, let me know. If it's appealing to everybody else, it's appealing to me. I really have no bias or agenda in it. I just want to find one that looks good and people like, and it's not distracting. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.